You know, this is really quite an amazing gospel. We know that the commandment Jesus talks about, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one." We're very familiar with, love God. And that dates back to the very beginning. You begin with Scripture and so on, and that message really comes through. And then the second is this. It is in the Old Testament, but it's really, really emphasized in the New Testament. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And I thought a lot about that particular aspect this past week. And it's probably the most difficult of the commandments to keep. Because when we think about this, I guess we can break down the idea of neighbor into maybe three categories. We have those people we don't know. We say that in the beginning, with brothers and sisters and the entire global community. Those people who are in Africa or in Asia or Latin America or other parts of the homeless person on the street. The individuals we do not know. And then there's the individuals we know within our community and perhaps in the global community as well. They're the second group of neighbors. And then, of course, the third group, and this isn't necessarily in any specific order, okay? The third group are our family, our immediate family, our extended family. And loving the first group is a little tough to do in the sense that geography most often separates us. And so we, at Christ the Servant, have started with our Advent Conspiracy looking towards that group. And at Christmas time, finding a way to say to them, hey, you know what? We love you. And we haven't got opportunities to go to you directly and give you a hug and say it, but we're finding ways to say, we love you, we're thinking about you. And we've done that, I would say, we've done that nicely. We've done that well. We've done that with love. And then the other community, the other group rather, those within our community as well. And I think when we get together here to worship as a community, we're very supportive of each other. Our Mass today, where we were thinking of Teresa Bobby, who was such a blessing to us. And we offer services for those in our midst who have moved to heaven to be of assistance to us. And so I think as a community, and that's probably true of many communities, we connect that way. And if I can just put a plug in for us, one thing I've noticed too, is that we're not a gossipy community. And I thought a lot about that too, because that can really destroy from within a community. But of course I'm not the best one with my ear to the ground anyways, but I don't hear that kind of stuff. Sure, we tease each other. And I was going to throw in a few things here, but that would be in the homily. We do tease each other, right? But that's okay. That's what families do, isn't it? And as Jermaine said, I only pick on you because I love you. I guess I picked on everybody more than once, which is good. If you feel left out, put your hand up. I'll pick on you right now. Alphonse and Gaston over there. You feel loved now? And then we get to our families. And that's the hardest, isn't it? It should be the easiest, but it's the hardest. And why is it the hardest? It's because we know them so well. And we're together a lot. But it is difficult. Because, and I think Jesus, let me backtrack a bit. Jesus had a family too. He grows up in a family, Joseph, Mary, brothers, sisters. And then when he begins his ministry, he selects apostles, disciples. Those are become his family. And he cares very deeply about them. And the interaction between Jesus and the disciples is interesting, isn't it? They'll say, just like little kids would, "I'm your favorite, aren't I, Jesus?" Well, I love you all. I mean, like a parent would say. Right? And he loved each one of them in a very special way, just as a parent loves a child, each child in a very special way, because all of our children are different. All the little ones that are here today, they're similar in that they're young, but they're all very different personalities. Some of them look at me with suspicion. Well, they should. Some of them look at me with curiosity. Why is this guy dressed so weird? And others, they look at me and see how you react to me, and you must be okay. So, but they all have different personalities. That's the beauty of it. And that's the great challenge of love. Loving within a family is looking at all those different personalities and seeing what challenges they bring to us. And in our Advent conspiracy, and at Christmas time, we have a great opportunity to show that love of neighbor in a family sense. Because the theme of buy less, give more, really can apply to a family. You remember when you were little, perhaps, and when you had your own children, etc., they'd say, I want to get mom or dad a card for their birthday, or grandma or grandpa. And he would say, why don't you make them a card? They'll like that so much better. And my kids never bought into that, but I convinced them. And Pauline would too when it was my birthday. And this week I was moving some stuff around and I came upon those handmade cards. They're very special cards because it's their spirit that's poured out onto that card. That's what Jesus is talking about. And in our frenzy at Christmas time to go out and get the perfect gift, I wondered if we all, me too, by the way, if we all stepped back a bit and said, what could I give? What could I do that would be special, that would be me, would be giving a part of me to my partner or whomever? And it takes some thought. If you were waiting for me to give you suggestions, you'll be waiting a while. Because it takes a lot of thought, and only you know that person that can make that particular gift so special. And you see, that's what the message is all about. Love your neighbor means love them. You don't have to flood family members or community members or those whom we don't know with great gifts or money. But if we start by applying it in our own lives with our own family, then it becomes, it's like the pebble in the pond. It starts to spread. And I've told you before, I'm described as the never-ending optimist and all that blind, you love people, you gotta remember, you're not being realistic and all that stuff. Listen, you can't make those accusations to Jesus, can you? So that's what the message is all about. It's simply saying, look, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. What a beautiful message. And within our own families, let's start there. Let's take the big challenge. You say, oh, you know what, I can't do that right away. Okay, maybe start with group number 1 that I mentioned today. Take a look at them and say, what can I do? And we're going to give you some suggestions. How's that? We're going to give you suggestions beginning next Sunday. And then you have the luxury, that's what it is, it's a luxury, of choosing how you can show to group number one, those whom we don't know at all, our love at Christmas time. And then group number two, you can think of that. But you know what? I see the yellow bags at the back. That's group number two. Want to give them a good present? Double up. There's an idea. Say I wouldn't give you anything, but I lied. I am. You can double up. And there will also be, beginning next Sunday, a poverty report on the increase of usage at food banks. It'll be at the back. You can take a look through. It's sad in our world of myths. There's something we can do. Love our neighbors as ourselves. And of course, I just talked about how around Christmas time with our own families, if we felt, well, I don't want to get into the psychology, but Christmas time offers us an opportunity to kind of, an excuse perhaps, and an opportunity to say that, to reach out to someone we may have become, the road's been rough. And maybe their heart around that time feels the need to reach out to. That's an opportunity. And in all three areas, you know what you can do that costs you zero money and costs you a little bit of time, but is the best of all three, is to pray. That's right. Sounds quaint, doesn't it? To pray for the people who have so much less than us. Group number one. For those in our own community who are struggling with difficulties, pray. And hey, listen, we've seen the power of prayer in this community. We have experienced that. And then within our own families, pray. So you see, you began by saying how difficult it was to love your neighbor.